All right, welcome to First Year Foundations. Congratulations on making it this far. We're around halfway through the term, and you now have a group that you're going to be working with, I hope. So let's get to it. All right, so you're going to be doing something important and perhaps somewhat more complex than the average weekly assignment now, but you're also going to be arranging it in a way that's actually quite simple, and you can get this done, I promise you. So I hope that you've been able to talk to your group members about what you all value together. What are some shared values that you have, or shared questions that you're not sure how to value something, and so you want to look into it more. Once you've established some basics, then you want to come up with a plan. And so think about the topic, and I would strongly advise you, in fact, I'm going to ask you to get it confirmed by me. And the only reason I want to do that is to mostly make sure that a bunch of groups aren't doing the same thing. So like I said in the last video, if everyone's doing recycling, it's a great topic, but you don't want to watch 5 presentations on recycling. That's going to be a lot. But if one group does a presentation on recycling, another does it on athletics, another does it on theater, then great. We have a nice diverse range of topics that we can cover in this particular section of FYF. So that's all I want from you. I want you to send me your idea of the topic in general. And it's okay if 2 people do the same, or 2 groups do the same topic, as long as they're not focused on the same aspect. But yeah, what is your topic? So let's just go with the recycling bit, right? So your main theme is recycling and environmental studies, or something to that effect. Then you might say, what do we hope to accomplish? And you want to fine-tune that a little bit, but generally a good example might be, I want to improve the environmental impact that the school has on campus through investigating the policies we currently have and what best practices we might not be doing that we could be. So that's the kind of question that you might want to ask. And you also, the reason that this is so important is you want to be able to know if you were successful or not. So if you say, I want to do a project, then, 3-4 weeks later, maybe you did one, maybe you didn't, but it's hard to say that you were successful or not. Whereas if you say, through research and through talking to these people, we want to suggest ways that we can improve the environmental impact of the school and what it does, then, in a month from now, you'll be able to say, yes, we were able to accomplish that, or no, but hopefully that's not the case. In fact, you can fine-tune it as you go as well. So maybe that's how you start, and then you realize, well, this is a sort of dead end because of these restrictions, but this is a promising avenue that we're going to pursue, and so you change it a little bit as you go, and I'll welcome you to talk to me or talk to Caroline about this, because you don't want to do it on your own. You have a group, and even that group might need some outside help and assistance, and that's totally good. I mean, it's good to collaborate. That's why we're doing this. So what is your main big theme? What is your more specific goal? And what is the way that you hope to accomplish that goal? So in other words, are there people on campus that you know should be helpful? I mean, assuming you haven't talked to them yet, you don't know for sure, but the people who work on the area that you're interested in should be helpful to your research, right? So if you're doing athletics, you want to talk to the athletics director, or maybe some coaches, maybe some student athletes, and maybe some people at other schools. You definitely want to look for experts. And that's not to say that I'm all into elitism and you need to only do people with PhDs in athletics or something. I don't know if that exists, but I'm sure it does. What you want to do, though, is make sure that you're not asking your dad or your best friend or someone who, might be a cool person, but doesn't necessarily have the expertise to know what the best practices in the field are, unless that is their job, in which case, great, talk to your dad or your best friend or something. But you don't want to just talk to the people around you. You want to talk to people. Maybe it's a phone call. Maybe it's an email to an organization. That's another good resource, by the way. There are a lot of organizations, obviously, for environmental impact. You can look at various organizations for community work, for charity, for help with food banks and stuff like that. All of these are great big picture questions, but also they all have many organizations that are doing excellent work that I'm sure would be happy to talk to you. So don't call them up and just be like, hey, I'm interested in food banks. You want to have a little bit more to go on before you start contacting people. And so checking websites, checking research, that's obviously your first step once you identify your main theme. But then once you read a little bit, you might say, there has been a decline in people donating to food banks, if that's the case, in this region. And the food that is being donated is coming mainly from areas A and B. We'd like to help improve the amount of food and the quality of food that's being donated. And so that's what we're doing. And then maybe that's when you call the food bank or the organization and ask, what do you think is causing this issue? What have you seen that's helpful or not helpful? And how can we help? I mean, that's always a good question too. So by the end of the whole project, which will be a few weeks from now at least, you want to be able to present your findings. And so you can say, we started out looking at this. This is the information we found. This is how we know it's reliable. And remember, you don't want to be dealing with logical fallacies, with extremely biased groups, and with non-experts or people who are faking their expertise. I mean, these are all real threats to how we understand the world and the information that circulates. So make sure that you're doing due diligence in where your information is coming from and the arguments your information presents, whether that's from the place that you're getting it or from the way that you use it to make your own argument. But ultimately, you will make an argument, and the argument will be something to the effect of, to improve the environmental impact that the school has, we suggest using these practices which the school has started to here but hasn't done here, and we think that this can be addressed in the following way, right? So I know that's kind of vague, but that's because you need to fill it in with your own research. So I think that's relatively clear. I know I'm sure you'll have questions, and you can always ask me questions, Caroline questions, or if you don't want to, if you want to be anonymous, you can always do the Ask Me Anything button and pose some questions there as well. Ultimately, you want to just feel like you've accomplished something, not just for yourselves, which you will, but also for the community that you're a part of. And so maybe that community is the local region, maybe that community is America, a very big community. Maybe it's the global community if that is something that fits our criteria. But remember, don't go so big that you can't really implement any change or you can't suggest anything because it would involve having to go to the UN or something. Might be good to think locally and work your way up. Or think globally and work your way down, if that helps. But definitely you want to have a plan. You want to have a basic set of information before you start contacting people. Then you want to go out into the world and try to figure out in more detail, after you have that basic knowledge, what are the specifics that you can offer by the end of this project. So good luck to you. I really look forward to seeing this. I think hopefully this project or these various projects will make us all better people in some small way and improve our community. And that would be really cool, wouldn't it? Anyway, until next time, cheers.